All right. Hello, hello. So good to see everyone. We are live. We'll let everyone trickle in here. So excited for the show today. I've got some very fun information from some hypnosis sessions to share with you along the theme of karma, along the theme of relationships and past lives, and how all of that works together, and some of the experiences that I've had with clients, and some of the information that I've uncovered as well. So, of course, before we get into it, please don't forget to hit that like button, share this out, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, so that you don't miss any future hypnosis content, as well as all of my card pulls and metaphysical content as well. And I see we have some friends in the chat. Tim is, I believe, watching on replay. So thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate your support as always. And looks like Lynn has class today, so have a good day at class, and definitely will miss you here live, but appreciate you supporting in the replay. Hello, Britt Merritt. So good to see you. I'm excited to share the information with you as well. And of course, Corbin is here too. Great to see you. Thank you so much for all of your support as well. And yes, indeed, please make sure you check out my website for more information. I'll give you guys a look there so you can see my website. I've got a bunch of information around all of my hypnosis sessions here, and a bunch of information around what hypnosis can do for you, and my different techniques and all of that. And bookings, of course. So this will bring you over to my bookings page, where you'll see all of my one-on-one sessions. And I'm so excited to announce that I will be having another group workshop coming up here in the month of April. So this is going to be on the 19th of April. Let's see if this will open. There we go. 19th of April. It is going to be at 3 p.m. in the afternoon here for Central Daylight Time. So if you are joining from somewhere else in the world, of course, check the time there. But trying out some different times so that those who maybe couldn't make the past life workshop that I did last month, hopefully this time works for you. And so excited for this. I am going to switch over to my graphic here and share that with you guys too. Oh, and here I'll put the comment down so you can see. All right, juggling. All right, so it is going to be a future progression workshop. So I am leading the group through a future progression. We're bringing you to a future lifetime. So similar to the past life regression, it will follow similar processes there. Going to talk a little bit about my tips and tricks for hypnosis, my different advice for you as you embark upon an experience. And this is really geared for anyone who is a total beginner, never done hypnosis. You don't even need to meditate in order to come and experience this. All you have to do is come with an open mind and the willingness to engage and participate. And if you are used to hypnosis, if you've done a session before, or if you meditate regularly, this is also super beneficial for you. With the future life progression, it's really about showing you your soul's trajectory, kind of that context and that arc that your soul is going on from your past lives through this current lifetime into the future. And it is just such an inspiring experience for folks, and really shows you what you're doing next, and shows you what could await you in the future. And of course, the future is not deterministic. There is free will involved, and there are so many infinite amounts of future timelines possible. And so this is really about tapping into that one that's vibing with you now, which is in resonance with you now, and the future that's going to be appropriate for you. So we're going to take you into a future lifetime to explore there. And I'll be going more in depth as well about what this can do for you, what future life progression is like, and the different ways that it can help you as well. So I hope to see you there. Tickets are live on my site now, so you can certainly go and purchase that if you are ready to. Otherwise, I definitely hope to see as many folks as possible there, because I think it's going to be a really exciting event. And especially as we move into this Aries energy and into Aries season, and all of the shifts that are happening with Aries, it just feels like the future is in focus. It feels like we're we're tapping into those fire energies to move forward. So I'm so excited to bring this to you, and definitely feel free to check out my website for more information on future life progression too, or check out my YouTube as well. I've got a video on there on future life progression as well. So, all right, I think that is good for now. Let me switch back to full screen there. So yeah, I'm so excited to bring the topic of karma to you folks today, and just catching up on the chat here. Oh, so good to see you, Emma. Thank you so much for watching. Looks like Emma is multitasking, and we've got Beth in the house. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, indeed. Happy solar eclipse. We are so, so close. Very, very close here. And I'm feeling better now that we're like close to it. I feel like the roller coaster of this week has kind of settled a little bit, which is good for me. I hope that the energies are settling for you, and if they're not, don't worry. There will be a lull at some point, and I definitely suggest grounding and really making sure that you are tapping into the earth and doing those things, whether it be yoga, whether it be eating root vegetables, whether it be hugging a tree, to ground down and uh, and do your best to support yourself through this. Just catching up here. Everyone's chatting in. Hello, hello. So good to see you, Windhorse. Thank you so much for coming. Hello, Lisa. Great to see you as well. Thanks so much for stopping in. All right. All right. Let's dive in. All right. So karma is definitely a big topic. I mean, this is something that there are lots of different opinions out there. There's lots of different schools of thought and different paradigms that karma exists within for different people. So I certainly don't claim to be the foremost expert on karma. There's a lot of information out there. And definitely, if you guys have different information, different takes, different perspectives, please make sure to share those in the comments below, because I think that, yeah, there's always something more to learn. And I love learning from other folks and hearing different perspectives and schools of thought. Share too in the comments if you have a karmic story of your own to share, whether that be past life memories or current lifetime stuff. Karmic moments or karmic situations, relationships that you've dealt with. I definitely think it's great to share, and would love to hear. Me too, Lisa. I am a big tree hugger for sure. There's just something about hugging a big tree that just feels so sturdy, right? I appreciate them. So karma, lots of different history, lots of different understandings of this phrase, this idea. I pulled the dictionary definition because it's a good place to start. So from Hinduism and Buddhism, primarily, the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. So that's what the dictionary definition defines. I'm sure they're pulling some from kind of the traditional religious representation of karma. But I think that when I think about karma, when I look at karma, I really prefer not to look at it as this like tit for tat or this like punishment sort of system, because I think that a lot of the ways that karma's talked about and a lot of the ways that karma's contextualized in people's lives really puts it as this like punishment system where you did a bad thing, so now karma's going to get you. And I hear that a lot, like karma's a bitch, right? Like karma's going to get you. And while that certainly is true in a sense, I definitely view karma more as this balancing act, because when we're viewing it as this punishment, it really puts us in like this victim mentality, this victim role in our lives, which we are not. I think most in the chat, most of you watching this video probably have some level of understanding that we are powerful co-creators, right? We are here to co-create with the universe and all of the other beings and energies and consciousness around us to create our reality. And so when we're looking at it from this tit for tat perspective, it really puts us as this victim that we're like having karma enacted upon us. And I think that it's really something where it's more of this balancing act, it's this evening out of the scales. If you think about like, the equal and opposite reactions or energies when you look at physics, like this idea that light frequency, light energy, light is going to have an equal and opposite dark. And so I think it's really about from that cosmic perspective, kind of looking back at it from more of that higher perspective, it's about that balancing of the light and dark experiences, the light and dark energies, and ultimately leading to, right, a wholeness that leads us back to source. And so it's certainly, a big thing to try to wrap our heads around. And I think that our perspective of karma is evolving. As I was preparing for this, I was watching some of Dolores Cannon's old interviews on karma, and she's talking about karma, and some of it really resonated. Some of it really was great. And some of it I was like, I feel like our understanding of the universe has expanded a little bit since she spoke on this at that time. And I think that um, it's about evening out. And so again, remembering that, in our lives, in our existences, in our lifetimes, we are not only the director and the producer, we're the star, we're the casting director, we're the makeup artist, we're the publicist. We fulfill all the different roles in our existence, in our lifetimes, from that higher self perspective. Our consciousness can't necessarily handle all of that consciously at once, but I think within understanding us as those powerful co-creators. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, right. Agree. Um, oh, right. I know. Sorry to get sidetracked, but we did go on for a beautiful walk today, and the birds were singing so loud. There was a cardinal up high in the tree, and he was just singing his art out. It was really beautiful, and the robins have just come back, and they're everywhere. Definitely soaking in this spring weather we got here. I know for those in the southern hemisphere, you are coming out of summer into fall, but beautiful season as well, right? I mean, I love fall too. But I think that when we're talking about our roles in our incarnations, in our lifetimes, soul planning is something that I talked a little bit about in my other video last week. Was that just last week? Y'all, this eclipse time has been just bending and stretching and condensing, and I don't know where I am. But the video that I did on Pisces, I talked a little bit more about soul planning and astrology and how that can tie into our past lives and our future lives and kind of how we incarnate. So definitely check that out if you haven't. But I think that within that, it's really important to remember that karma is something um, that we're actively working with. And I think for different souls and different levels of consciousness, depending on where you are in your soul evolution, where you are lifetime to lifetime as well, can depend on how actively you're working with that. Some people talk about the ways that we can slip from lifetime to lifetime very quickly and not even really realize on the spirit side what's actually going on, and not engaging in the soul planning in maybe the conscious way that we can at times. And so I think it's a varied experience for different souls and different levels of consciousness. And yes, right, Emma, I agree too. Consciousness is always shifting, and I think many don't understand this, even in the freedom community. Absolutely. I think that it's an easy trap to fall into because we want to be sure, we want to depend on things, we want to feel confident in the information we're sharing or in our perspectives or our worldviews. But I definitely have found, especially in the work that I do, it's so important to remain open and to at least be willing to think about things from different perspectives, different levels, different takes. And I think that that's where, again, sharing our own experiences, sharing our own takes and our own interpretations of things is so powerful. And I think just further emphasizes the growth that we can all have. So definitely agree. Oh, I know, right, Corbin? It has been a week. Feel like the eclipse already happened. I know we've been going through it. Oh yeah, I love that, Brit. I love that. All right. So in regards to soul planning and karma, we are a part of that planning to a degree, to an extent, lifetime to lifetime. And so karma is really about how are we linked to others, how are we tied into the lessons that we're learning. So one of the things that I've seen in my work, as well as reading other hypnosis sessions and stories, and exploring this whole concept of past lives and relationships and such, we can take a lot of different roles with each other as souls in our lives, in our incarnations, and it's definitely something that switches up and changes. I've found that souls often have more of a resonant like persona, or there might be some consistency at times to roles. Maybe a soul is more comfortable as a woman or as a man, or maybe is more comfortable doing the mom role or the friend role or something like that. There can be definitely patterns within that, but especially when it comes to learning lessons, when it comes to balancing out that karma and working through that together, um, I found that we often take different roles, and we go from maybe a mother son combination to a son mother combination, the souls switch. And that helps us to round out our experiences. It also helps us to try out different roles to see if that works better for learning the lesson, for having that experience. So, you know, we'll get more into kind of specifics and different ways that this can shake out. But I wanted to start by sharing one session story that was really, really cool. So I linked the original video in the description down below because I did talk about this session and this lifetime in a little more depth when I was doing this video. It's the Life of an Energy Worker Part 1 video from a while back. So I did talk about this lifetime a bit there, but I wanted to add some more context that came through, and specifically around this karma theme, right? So in this session, my client was living a lifetime as a native shaman, energy worker type role. And so it wasn't necessarily energy worker in the ways that we use the term today, but certainly was working with the ley lines and working with the grids of energy on the earth. Spent a lot of their lifetime alone and within nature. And I shouldn't say alone, because they were very tapped in to the earth and to the ley lines, and as well as to the animals. Speaking of animals, as I see the chat roll by. So within this lifetime, they, from an early age, were working with the energies of the earth, and they had a really cool perspective in this lifetime. It was more of an understanding of the cosmos than in the current lifetime. Had a conscious awareness of their mission in life. Had very much, and that was from a young age. And there was a lot more to the story. Definitely check that out if you're interested in hearing more. But this client was primarily alone, but in that lifetime, they had a really close relationship with their mother. And they actually didn't have a father in that lifetime. They just had a mother, and they immediately recognized their mother in that lifetime. And they said, I think that's my friend. And I said, "Oh yeah, like, tell me more about that." And they're like, "There's just something about this person. There's something that I'm recognizing." And so, um, we went through that lifetime. We experienced their a few different scenes and a few different experiences throughout life, including the death. And it was really fascinating because because of the role and the connection that this person had, this soul had in that lifetime, they actually consciously chose when they died, and they didn't have any sort of like fear or unknown. It was just like, now's the time and I'm going, and didn't feel any pain. It was like a very smooth transition. And after that, we got in contact with their higher self, and we started to ask some questions around this lifetime. And one of the questions that I had was, that the mother of my client in this lifetime, was that indeed their friend in this? And they confirmed and said yes, yes, indeed. And furthermore, emphasized that it was the laugh that was kind of the signature. They described like the way that she would throw her head back and like laugh in a particular way. And I thought it was just such a beautiful moment of recognition, and especially having the higher self confirm this information, confirm this connection. it really helped to show the support that this soul was giving my client, not only in that lifetime but also in this lifetime, because described this friend as having similar traits as that mother in that lifetime, and really was a support in this. And so I think it's really, beautiful when these relationships can get that added context from past lives. Another karmic relationship that was elucidated within this session was my client's daughter. And so their higher self explained that in the current lifetime, their daughter was here as sort of a guide or like a way shower for her mother, for my client. And I've had other similar experiences in sessions, especially around the parent-child relationships, where children are often these catalysts or teachers for their parents. But it can certainly be the other way around as well, where again, the parent can teach the child. I mean, most often with karma, it's a give and take. Um, there's reason for each soul to be involved in this, and it's for both of their benefits most of the time. There are certainly situations where the karma is more heavily weighted on one side, or I've seen too where souls will agree to help someone out with a lesson or with an experience that isn't necessarily theirs, or they're not invested in it in the same way as that soul who's choosing it. But they'll sacrifice and they'll go above and beyond for that other soul, because there's such love at that level. So let me just see. um Oh yeah, I wanted to add, along with the theme of children and karma, I've definitely found that having children is a very karmic experience, and that's not to say that people shouldn't have children if they don't want to get karma, because it's really about how you move through your life and how you live your life. But I've certainly found an emphasis on karma with that parent-child relationship. I had one client who we viewed a couple different lifetimes, and we saw his mother in each of them. And it was sometimes there was usually her in the mother role, him in the child role. But there was a lifetime where they switched, and it was more he was like the grandmother type uh, caretaker, and she was like the child. And so um, and really seeing kind of the story weave throughout those different lives, and then leading up to this current lifetime, and really being able to understand that context and that tapestry, that story of that relationship. And it just adds, I think, so much value to how we work through relationships in this lifetime, because past lives are interesting, past lives are great, but it's really how do we tie it back into the current lifetime? How do we use that information and really capitalize on that information for the current lifetime? Because there's always a reason it comes up, right? So I certainly sorry, I get so distracted by the chat sometimes, guys, so bear with me here. Also definitely still feeling those Pisces energies strong. The wateriness is still here. We got a lot of Pisces energy, but thank you, Britt Merritt. I agree, it is so fascinating. Emma saying, I'm hoping I'm closing out the sacrifice loop. Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think it's definitely I love it. Hashtag need a session with Jake. Get that hashtag trending, Emma. Thank you. I definitely think it is something where when we have that recognition, I feel like we're already starting that journey. And whether or not that journey ends in this lifetime or not, is really beside the point, because from that soul perspective, from that higher self perspective, in that context, like, doesn't really time doesn't exist, right? So it doesn't matter how many lifetimes it takes us. And I think that that's sometimes hard for us to remember from our human perspective, because these lessons can be challenging, these lessons can be tough, these lessons can be hurtful. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics. There's a lot of dynamic experiences, sure, we'll say it that way. There's a lot of dynamic experiences in the human existence, right? Um, but I definitely think that when we're aware of something, when we're working on it, like, That's great. That's phenomenal. And I think that when we do have that awareness, like the worst thing we can do is to ignore that and to not do anything to work on it. But there are certainly things that we can work on in our lives, just the way that we show up, our thoughts, our actions, our emotions. We can work with meditation or self hypnosis or um, any sort of breath work, things to help shift energy and help us shift out of some of this. But and we'll get more into this. I definitely think that diving into the um, diving into it from the hypnosis perspective, tapping into your subconscious, tapping into your higher self like this, I mean, it really is like a fast track to working through those karmic realizations and lessons and understandings, and certainly more nuanced than just having a session is like an instant cure, because everyone's different and every situation's different, and sometimes there is karma, there are ties that are good and that are essential for our growth and for our soul journey in this lifetime. So anyway, all that aside, um mm, yes, I truly believe I'm wrapping up major karma with my children as well as clearing family lines. Whew. Yep. Yeah, it can definitely be some dense heavy work, and it can be emotional work. And I think that that's where, again, like partnering with your higher self on this, knowing that you have that support as well as the support of your guides, as well as the support of angelic beings and extraterrestrial soul family, like there's so much support out there too. And so yeah, remembering that support I think is important, but doesn't necessarily take away the toughness of these moments, right, of these relationships. Yes, absolutely. Sending hugs to you, Beth. It is a journey. So I also wanted to talk a little bit too, because I think that one of the things that has really broadened my understanding of the cosmos, of the world, is understanding that karma isn't just between humans. This is something where we can have karma with animals, we can have karma with the earth, we can have karma with, essentially anything that has consciousness, right? Because it's about that interaction between consciousnesses. It's about that balancing. And I think that depending on the level of consciousness, depending on the soul and what's going on there, I think like your dog or your cat, the way you treat that animal is going to be a little different than maybe the grass that you're walking on, right? But I think there is some validity to the idea that karma is about all of it. It's like about the different interactions between consciousnesses. Um, but anyway, I did want to bring in the idea that animals and other beings that inhabit this planet can be a part of that. I definitely could talk more about that, because one of my favorite books, it's by Magenta Pixie. It's called Lessons from a Living Lemuria, and it's all about karma and relationships. And she talks about animals in our diet and how that all plays out. And it's just, I mean, it's fascinating. She channels information from her guides. It's great. It's really great. So I definitely recommend checking that book out if you want to learn more about kind of that side of things. And let me know too. I mean, I'd be happy to make a video diving more into that as well. Um, but I also have found through my sessions that there can be karma as well with beings beyond this earth. And from what I can tell, it's typically those souls that have incarnated here. Um, I don't know this definitively, but I think that karma is mostly a earth thing. Uh, I I wouldn't say that karma's exclusively an earth thing, because I feel like the vastness of the cosmos says like that's not possible. But primarily it's an earth thing. And so I've seen where extraterrestrial guides can sometimes be recognized as soul family from a different lifetime. And so it's always fascinating to see those different relationships and the different ways that we can interact, right, as souls, as these eternal beings. um the other note that I wanted to say around karma too is that I've encountered a few instances in my practice, as well as reading from Dolores's work and others, that there are some who come to this earth and are actually shielded or protected um, from karma. Oh, great. Thank you, Corbin. So Corbin put the link for the book in the chat. I love that. So if you want to find that book, I definitely recommend it, and as well as all of Magenta's books. I mean, she's really brilliant. I mean, she's tapped in beyond. Yeah, book club show. I love that. Or events. Yeah, that could be a thing. That could be a thing. I'll noodle on that. Let me know in the comments below if you like the idea of a book club show or book club events. I definitely am open to that. I mean, I love a good book. Books got me into hypnosis. So, um, oh, and I love this comment too, Corbin. As light workers, we're all clearing more than just our own individual karma. Yes, there is a level of, you know, cooperation that's going on amongst us, and I think even more so at a subconscious level from that soul perspective, we're working through so much, and especially for those who are sensitive, who are tuned in, you're going to know when that karma is maybe more so someone else's than yours. I love it. I love it. All right. What was I saying? Karma. So sometimes people come into this lifetime and they're shielded or protected. So I had a client that was similarly protected from karma, and I don't claim to necessarily know all of the ins and outs of this. It's still a little confusing to me. I'm not exactly sure how it works. Because essentially, when I asked for some more clarification on this, so well, I guess I'll give context first. So definitely check out the video Soul from Source. I did not remember to link that one in the description below, but I'll try to remember to go back and link that for you guys. But in that video, I talk about a being that came directly from Source. So this was a soul that was incarnated in my client, and they had experienced a pretty tough life up until this point, had had a lot of challenge with the darker sides of humanity, with bullying, with like the cruelty of other humans. And when we got to the point of asking their higher self questions and understanding more of what was going on, they they told us that this soul was not a part of the normal incarnation cycle. They had come directly from source, they had come from the light, and they had incarnated just for this lifetime, for this one only, to raise the frequency of earth and to help humanity to rise up. And so Dolores Cannon wrote pretty extensively about this, and she had quite a few clients who were of this variety, that were souls that came directly from source to bring in that higher consciousness, that higher frequency. And so something about their special mission, something about them volunteering to do this, to come in this kind of non-standard way, uh, essentially they were protected from source. So I again don't fully understand it, but I think it's really fascinating, and I think that it's definitely something that um, that just proves the wild amount of information and experiences that are out there. Right, Britt Merritt, that is fantastic, right? Oh, we got a question from Travis. Hey, good to see you, Travis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Says my significant other very recently asked me if I would be in support of her being a surrogate mother. We were thinking a clearing karma through it. That would certainly be a karmic. I would certainly understand that as a karmic relationship, and I think that, I mean, parenthood in general is such a noble cause. It's such a journey to go on. It's such a important role to take on, and you know, whether it be a, you know, birthing your own child, doing surrogacy, adopting. I mean, there's so many different ways that children can come into our lives, and that really boils down to uh, you know, what kind of lineage are they looking for, what DNA or what you know, what family line is going to be best for them. And so I think that that's always fascinating to look at, like why a soul chose that parent, or chose, you know, chose to be adopted and not know their birth parents. You know, there's so many different or you know, child raised by their grandparents. You know, the ways that we interact is infinite, and all speaks to those ties between us as beings and as souls. So um certainly could be a way of clearing some karma, because I think that that would be definitely an experience, right? So I love it. Thanks so much, Travis, for being here and for engaging in the chat. Always appreciate it. Um, so yeah, let's see. Where are we? Where am I? Um, so I was going to talk just a little bit about the astrology of the moment as well, just briefly because I have talked about that in other videos recently, but I think that tying in what's going on right now with the Venus retrograde, which those of you who know astrology, Venus is relationships, Venus is, love life or significant others. It also, we have Mercury retrograde as well. And like I talked about, I think it was last week with retrogrades, we have the words, review, renew, rebirth, revisit, all of those sorts of things. And so there's a lot more going on in the sky, right? There's a lot of more planetary bodies shifting around and moving around. But I think it's highlighting this theme of karma, this theme of relationships right now. And I know that I've seen this talked about in a lot of different spheres from a lot of different people, some who know what's going on astrologically, some who don't. And so I think seeing all of that come up, it's just really highlighting this theme right now. And I've even had some client consultations lately where this theme has come up as far as topics that they're looking to delve into or information that they would love to uncover through their session. And so karma's on the mind, relationships are here, kind of forefront for us to think about, to focus on, to review, to reflect. And I had my own Venus retrograde moment. I mean, I had quite a few throughout this transit, which is still ongoing. We got a few more weeks of it, but literally day one of Venus going retrograde, it was back on the 2nd of March, right? I think that was correct. Day one, I had some ex of mine from years ago. I mean, literally years. Like I'm married at this point. Like have been with Corbin for many years at this point. Just out of the blue, messaging me, like looking to reconnect, and it was just kind of like so on the nose. And I'm sure that all of you have had your own variations of those experiences. Definitely let me know down in the comments below if you can relate. But all in all, I think that Venus retrograde's bringing this in, and the other astrology is highlighting it. Oh, I know, right, Lisa? This astrology has been crazy. Feeling it, feeling it, feeling it. Oh, we got a question from Emma. Have you noticed if sun sign degree is related in the child relationship? I mean, I wouldn't say that I have like documented research showing this, but I definitely think that, like I was saying last week, that our birth chart and the astrology that we choose to come into this world with definitely speaks to the karma that we have and the relationships that we have. And so definitely think, oh yeah, there we go. We got Corbin in the chat helping out. So I'll read that in just a moment. But I think the idea that our astrology can give us clues and signs as far as that goes, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like some signs are more prone than others. Maybe in a sense, some are, prone to be drawn together, but I think it really depends on the karma that you're working out and the relationship that you are headed into, what you're looking to work through in that lifetime. And so a Scorpio sun and a Sagittarius mother are going to interact differently than a Pisces sun and a Virgo dad. Like these are going to be different characters, different interactions, different energies and flavors. And so definitely a great question, Emma. And we did have Corbin pop in, our resident astrologer, saying, I'd look at the 5th house, its ruler, and aspects to it to start. So thank you, Corbin, for popping in with the astro knowledge. Which, speaking of different karmic relationships and lessons, some examples of karma, some examples of those relationships could be around self-worth. So maybe that relationship is helping teach you self-worth and how to value yourself and how to stand up for yourself. Could be boundaries or personal power. There are ways that people try to take advantage of us consciously and unconsciously. There are ways that people try to exert their power over us. And again, it's really about not looking at it from that victim mentality of woe is me, I hate this relationship. It's so hard. Uh, Certainly feel those feelings if you're feeling them. Feel them and then let them go, because really it's about understanding. It's about recognition. It's about looking into why is this coming up for me, and especially with those patterns in relationships, there's something there for you to look at. Um, and I think other things that can be karmic would be, um, oh, like I was saying, courage, standing up for yourself. Could be about humility or pride. There is something to be said about humbling ourselves to take care of someone else, especially those parents in the chat. I know that you can relate. Taking care of a baby is a lot. You have to do some things that you maybe never thought that you would. Um, I worked in service industry, so I don't necessarily know what it's like to have a child, but I do know what it's like to have customers who come in, or not customers who come in, expecting you to get down on your hands and knees and be a chair for them. And I'm not saying that that's parenthood, because hopefully that's not the dynamic you have. But it's this idea of humility. It's this idea of, you know, for me, those experiences really help me to see that I am here to serve people, to help people, and B, I'm worth a hell of a lot more than that. And I learned how to expect better treatment from people. And I learned those moments when it wasn't worth it, when I needed to disengage. And it was really about all of that I was just talking about, the boundaries and all that. So I'm sure you guys can relate as well. Uh, and let me know down in the comments below if you have some of these karmic things or themes that have come up in your life, because again, it's really going to be unique to you. Your relationships, your karma, the lessons that you're learning are going to be unique to you, and that's where taking time to be quiet, to tune into yourself, and check in with your higher self and be aligned on what you're doing and what you're going through. And if you're having questions around, like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me, or why is this person treating me this way, one way is certainly just meditating and getting quiet and asking your higher self for some guidance on that, asking your guides for some guidance on that. um, and especially when it's something happening in the current lifetime, that can be pretty effective. But especially those things that are, karma over lifetimes, because often when it's that point of like karmic tie, we've been doing this for a moment. You and that other soul have been likely had many different lives where you've gone through different experiences, you've played out different roles, you've tried different lessons, and those those triggers in this current life, especially those things that come up over and over again, oftentimes are patterns that are through lifetimes, and certainly not something that you can't work through on your own. I believe that we're all very, very powerful beings, and a lot of times with exploring in consciousness, exploring through our past lives, a lot of it takes trust in the information that's coming through. It takes clarity in your channel. But furthermore, I mean, I'm biased, but hypnosis is so powerful for this. It's just next level in helping you work through these things, and understanding that why behind the what, right? It's understanding why you're going through something. um, but also, even if you don't necessarily, or sorry, if you do know what you are going through, or why you're going through it, I should say, maybe you're not sure what next step to take, or you're not sure how to switch the energies, or maybe you're really aware of that karmic lesson and you're like, I am through with this, I am over it, I'm done with it. That's where we can have such powerful experiences through past life regression, where you can clear those blocks, and clear that karmic residue that isn't serving you anymore. So um, let's see, getting distracted by the chat again because I'm seeing Some real good astrology chat. Love it. Love it. Also, hello, Green Egg Crow. Good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping in. Um, so with past life regression, I mean, I'm obviously a practitioner, so I'm a big proponent of it. I think it's really powerful stuff, because not only can you see why something's going on, but you see that context, you see the different levels of it, and you can see that overarching journey, that arc that your soul has gone on. And from this perspective, especially tapping into your higher self and working from there, it's really about understanding, is this still serving me? Is this still good for me? Is this still the best experience or the best relationship or the best situation for me at this time? And thank you so much. Great to hear. I'm happy to share this information, and I think it's important stuff, especially right now. Um, but it's really about understanding. It's about that recognition. It's about seeing the big picture, seeing that, getting back to that source, getting back to the root. And this could definitely be something where, a couple of lifetimes ago, you tried out this relationship with someone in your soul family, and things went awry, and the lesson wasn't learned. And in fact, there was maybe some tough stuff going on. Uh, and that can then lead to, well, we've got to balance this out. We've got to try again, because um, one of the things that Dolores Cannon said a lot was that, like, karma isn't escapable. Like, you don't get to opt out of the lessons that you've chosen to learn. And I don't love the phrasing of it, because I feel like, again, it puts us in this kind of victim mentality where it's really like, we don't want to not finish that lesson. We as souls, uh, we want to experience, we want to go through these things that we've chosen, and we want to have that experience. We want to have that lesson, because it's all about that when it comes to incarnation. And especially when something is going on many different lifetimes, there can be almost a forgetfulness around uh, the full picture, the reality of it all. There have been souls who, they don't even necessarily realize when they slip over to the spirit side, when they die, that that's what's happened, and they, like, go right back into another lifetime, and there's not even that conscious working with your soul plan. There's not that level of, like, conscious engagement in planning. I still think that from that higher perspective that happens, but I think depending on where you're at in your journey, where you're at in your evolution, there can be varying degrees of forgetfulness, and that amnesia of incarnation can blur over into the spirit realm and cause the perception of being trapped in this wheel. Because remember, we're powerful co-creators. Like, at that higher self level, we're aware, we know what's going on, and we're complicit in it, because we're doing it. We're that soul. So that's where I think hypnosis especially can really, really help, because, again, it gives you that vision. It gives you that glimpse at what's going on. It helps you fill in the gaps, so that in this lifetime, you're able to clear that out. And I really do think that we are being called in our lifetimes now, so many of us, to clear huge amounts of karma, to really work through a lot of different stuff, and to do that so that we can move into the new, so that we can shift into this new earth. Um, and So I'm getting I can't help it. I'm so used to, like, chatting with people. I love the chat so much, and I so appreciate you guys coming here live and joining in live, because it's just really special to be able to feel your energy through the screen, right? Um, and yes, I love it. Green Egg Crow saying, "Can't go over it, can't go under it, gotta go through it." I love that book. That was such a good one. Yeah, karma's just like that. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You got to go through it. And in an empowering way, right? Like we are going through it because we're strong enough to go through it. Like if you chose that lesson for this lifetime, like you got this. You definitely got this. I know you do, because you're so powerful. And I'm getting chills as I'm saying that. So we're tapping in there. Um, Emma's saying I must have ticked a lot of those check boxes thinking it'd be a piece of cake. Yeah, well, that can definitely be the case too. You know, from that soul perspective, when we're outside of it, there can be a level of, oh yeah, I got this. That'll be fine. No problem. And then we get into it, and turns out the human experience is not for the weak. It's a challenging existence. It's a tough planet, because there's such powerful work that can be done here. So, all right, we're getting close on time. I'm doing all right here. So I wanted to bring in another session story that was really cool. So this was around the concept of soul contracts and rewriting soul contracts. So um, this is not necessarily a part of everyone's understanding of how the cosmos work. I think soul contracts are more of a symbol than a literal thing. But it's also like soul contracts aren't necessarily in the physical. This is outside of our realm of physicality, at least from our level of understanding, right? And so I think that it's something that we've conceptualized to help us understand what's going on beyond. But I think, like most things, there's complexity to it, there's nuance to it. I love that green egg crone energy. Yeah, we go through those cycles. So anyway, this session, I had a beautiful client who we went through quite an interesting couple of lives. One of them I talked about in my animal incarnation video. But this portion of the session took place in within the container of our higher self conversation. So we were talking with my client's higher self around different relationships that they had in their current lifetime, and there were a few relationships that they wanted to look at and wanted some clarity on, because they were going through some things, and they had this understanding that there was more to the story, there was more under the surface. So in this one particular relationship that we asked about, these two individuals were business partners and friends, and they had had a tough situation in this lifetime that my client was finding hard to forgive. And so they were wondering, what's the deal there, why is it so hard? Like I want to forgive this person, but I'm really just struggling to get over that, and to move on from it, to let it go, to release it. And they they got that clarity from their higher self that, of course, there were many lives together. There were quite a few lives. They listed a few of those prior relationships. They said they've been siblings, they've been friends, they've been mother and son. And what they said was there have been many small spites throughout many lifetimes. And so it was kind of like this pile up of many lifetimes of transgressions, of spites, of tiffs, whatever it was, leading up to this current lifetime where this one thing just really got in the way, and was just a really a struggle for them. And they were really looking for some understanding here and some clarity. And so once they got this clarity, it was like, okay, well, what next? So I have a clip that I want to play for you guys from this session. Oop, here, let me make sure it's not going to play immediately. Okay, it might play immediately, so I'm just going to play it. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear this, okay?
A lot more to forgive than just the infraction in this moment, which is why it seems so hard. But I can take their contract and be rid of that.
What are you doing with the contract?
We are going clear it up. Let them start fresh. Let them be new. Hopefully let them thrive.
What is the new contract being written in its place?
We are leaving it blank and allowing them to write it.
Mm. So, such a cool moment. I get chills every time I hear that because there are definitely times where I may guide you to rewriting a soul contract. That's part of kind of my toolbox, if you will, or different techniques that I've picked up. And this is certainly a super powerful tool. But as you heard, they said there's much more to forgive than just this lifetime, this one infraction. And they said that they were tearing that contract up. They were tearing it up and getting rid of it because they wanted to give these two souls the chance to start anew. And I asked, is there going to be a new soul contract put in its place? Because that is, I would say, usually typical standard. You're in this state and you're working with your higher self here, and they're going to help you to craft that new soul contract. And maybe it's switching something from, we're in this victim cycle where we're manipulating each other or something, to we're in a balanced relationship and respect each other's boundaries, something like that. But I love that they said we're leaving it blank to let them rewrite, or let them explore, let them discover it themselves. And I think that it was such a powerful moment, and I was really excited for them to have that fresh start, to have that new start. And I don't always get to hear afterwards from clients like what happened or what went down. This was one situation where I heard what happened, and they ended up going their separate ways. And so it was, and it was really not that long after the session took place. It was a handful of months. And I just was so wowed by that, because it was mostly amicable. Like, it was not a huge terrible blowout. I mean, it was as smooth as any sort of separation can be. But I think that new start was facilitated by the work that was done in the session. I have no doubts about that. And so it was a really beautiful moment where I got to hear afterwards, how things played out. And I think that it's just such a powerful tool within a session, to be able to tap into that sort of a soul contract uh, concept, and to understand what is that soul contract first and foremost. We didn't read it in that session, but it was a moment where we could have said, okay, well, what's on that contract, and getting a little clarity on exactly what are those words, what's going on in that relationship, and what's that soul contract that's tying you guys together. And I'm just catching up on the chat here. Oh, we have Lisa saying, "Oh, I have some of those people in my life." You were referring to the before. Yeah, I know, right? Definitely tough to forgive some people, and oftentimes those are karmic things. It can also be something that we're working on ourselves, right? That just triggers us and those other people. Oh, we got a question from Emma. Emma is asking, "Are the eclipses assisting us clearing contracts like a reset in a good way?" Oh, I mean, I definitely think so. I think working within eclipse windows is super, super powerful for endings and resetting contracts. And this can certainly be, situations as well. There can be uh, also a great time to let go of old you. I had quite a profound experience this week, having a funeral service for my old self. I put to rest a old version of me so that I could step into the new, and really have like a clean break, and like a clean, like uh, like stepping into that new me, that future me, which I think a lot of us are being called to at this moment. So I definitely think, Emma, that eclipses are wonderful moments for this astrologically, and are great times for those endings, um, and releasing and resetting, uh, like you said, in a good way, because especially when we're working with these energies, like consciously, when we are putting intention into how we're moving through these energies, I think it just gives us the leg up. And not that we don't have those moments where we're kind of blindsided by the energies, even when we're tuned in, or something catches us by surprise, or maybe there is a tougher reset that we need. But I definitely think that there's some validity there. Great question. Green Eyed Crow saying, I think I was filling out a Mad Libs, not a soul contract. Oh, I know, right? That's how it feels sometimes. Especially these days, because like I was saying, I think we're clearing a lot in these lifetimes that we're living right now. I think because of those astrological energies that we're moving through, I think that we've agreed, and we've kind of heaped a lot on our plates for these lifetimes. And especially those, I think, in the spiritual community who are doing the work, who are working on themselves, and are really prioritizing that soul growth. Like, we're working on a lot, and and that can sometimes feel like a Mad Libs, where it's just like, what are these pieces that are put together? Why is this going on? This makes no sense, or this is chaotic. But I think that um, that's where our higher selves can help us, right? Like, tapping into our higher selves, whether on your own or in a session with me, can really help get that clarity, right, of what's going on and why is this the way it is. Um, oh, and we had a follow up, or are we still doing this individually? Well, I think the work oftentimes has an individual and a collective component to it. If we think about like our realities and our, um, we have our individual realities that we build and we create, and then we have that collective, or that shared vision, and that shared collective reality. And I think it's similar with karma, or with these sort of like resets, or refreshes, where I think it does have to have an individual component for the most part. Um, but there's also that level of like working through collective karma, and helping the world in, from an individual perspective, with that collective karma. So I would say that we should always be cognizant of like what we're doing individually, and what rebirth, what renew, working with that consciously ourselves. But especially for those who are called to help out the collective, those who are called to be healers, or to be helpers of the earth, of humanity, like, more than likely, if you have this knowing that you're working through something larger than you probably are. So I think it's nuanced. I think there's some nuance there, right? Lisa, feedback is so helpful. Which also, y'all, if you aren't quite at the point of ready to go on your own hypnosis journey with me, Lisa's a wonderful guide, and helper in understanding what's going on for you, and whether that be with spirit guides, whether that be with past lives, whether that be with meditation, even. Lisa is great. So I know a lot of you in the chat know Lisa and Deep Dives in the Desert, but definitely check out it's beyond, or visionsbeyondthedesert.com. Yeah. Corbin, if you can share it in the chat, do that. Yes, absolutely. Beth saying, like, clearing contracts with your home. Absolutely. More to come on that. We've been working on some house energy here in our home. Sorry, just catching back up on the chat. Thank you, Corbin. Yes, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and check out my website. Oh, absolutely, Lisa. Love ya. Yay, thank you. There we go. Corbin got it up. Definitely, Lisa is a amazing human, amazingly gifted, and can definitely help when you're navigating some unknown places, unknown situations. She's a wonderful, wonderful human. All right, so I guess wrapping up the soul contract sort of work, I've had other experiences with clients where we've worked through similar soul contract situations, and it's interesting because sometimes the soul contract, sometimes these karmic ties to other people are accompanied by physical manifestations in their energetic field. And I say physical like uh, not necessarily meaning like literally physical things, though I suppose that could happen. But this is more like, seeing a shackle around your wrist or something like that in your energetic field, and that's connected back to someone who is from a past life, or who is from your current lifetime, who has a hold on you in some way, or who has like a more usually more of a negative attachment to you. Because of course energetic cords are not always negative. There are certainly positive chords and positive karmic relationships, but especially when we're looking at more negative connections and more of those vampire energies, more of those uh, like yeah, I'm blanking on the other word that I wanted to use, but um, working through that as well within a session, and being able to remove that negative presence in your energetic field, being able to dissolve and release that connection, hugely powerful, hugely powerful. So definitely, if this is something that's resonating with you, if you are thinking, oh my gosh, like if only I could have some insight into this relationship or that relationship. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's a sibling. Definitely check out my website. Definitely feel free to book with me. I love looking into karmic relationships, understanding the context, whether it be past lives or the current lifetime, and it's really such a powerful way to work through these energies and to do this deep soul growth and deep soul work uh, from a place of empowerment, right? Because there are certainly those out there who can do this work for you, or at least they claim to. And I think it's always something where like you have to be participating to an extent, whether that be at a higher level or from your consciousness. But like I say a lot, hypnosis is such a individual and empowering experience. It's about helping you find those answers for yourself. It's helping you to uncover that information that you have access to. I know Lisa can echo this because we both say this a lot, but there is nothing special about psychics or mediums or intuitives. I mean, there is, of course, something special about them because each of us are special, but everyone can do this. Everyone can access these sorts of gifts and abilities. Everyone can access this information within a session. And it's just about coming open minded and open hearted, and with that intention of working with your higher self for this deep soul growth. So, last notes, remember, karma is not punishment. We are each doing the best we can navigating these incarnations that we've got. And regardless of what someone's life looks like, regardless of how easy it looks or how difficult it looks, remembering that we never know what lives they've lived before or what lives they're going to live afterwards. And I definitely have found that people often go through kind of waves of busy lives and of resting lives. They'll have a life where there's working through a lot of karma, and then they'll have a lifetime where things are a little smoother sailing. There's maybe less turbulence. And so I think the less we can judge others and the more we can focus on ourselves and how we're moving through these energies and moving through the world is great. So yeah, checking in on the chat here. Ooh, we got a book recommendation. Love this. Green Eyed Crow. Highly recommend the book called The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. It's for kids, but explains soul contracts. Oh, I love that. I love that. I think that we need more of those sorts of kids books that explain the world as it is, rather than painting fake narratives. So, um, Let's see. Oh, yes, right, Corbin. I know we should we should get that for Collier. I feel like my brother might not love that, but oh, thank you so much, Beth. So great to have you all here. And yes, thank you, Corbin. I'm going to wait. Sorry, one moment. Remove at the stage. There we go. Yes, one final reminder about my upcoming group future progression workshop coming up on the 19th of April. That is a Saturday, 3 p.m. For here in the States. If you're elsewhere, of course, do that calculation of timing. Trying out a different time so that hopefully those who maybe weren't able to make it last time are able to. And definitely excited to bring you all on this future journey. I love future life progression. I think it's so powerful. And I love these workshops because I'm able to give you guys a much more affordable and much more accessible soft intro to what this is like. Certainly these workshops are not exactly like a session, and but it gives you a taste of that, and it gives you more of a deeper understanding of what a session could be like. So definitely if you're interested in a one-on-one session, or if you're just interested in learning a little more about hypnosis or the future or whatever it might be, definitely recommend this workshop. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you so much, Lisa. Beautiful show. Good to see you too, friend. Yes, great to see everyone in the chat. So yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Share in the comments below any of your own karmic experiences that you want to share, or if you have your own takes on karma or your own insights into karma, would love to hear. So yeah, don't forget to get your tickets. Those are available on my website. And I'm hoping that all of you have a wonderful morning, noon, or night. And I'm sending you all the love and all of the light. All right. Bye for now, y'all.